Hello, and welcome to today's live ChannelCast. We've titled it, One Size Can Fit All, Leveraging Internet of Things Gateways for Channel Success. This event arrives on your computer screens by way of the Channel Company and LILEE Systems. I'm Mark Sangini, and I'm excited to be moderating and introducing today's ChannelCast. But before we can begin, I have a few items to share with you in the audience to help you get the most from this event and our excellent guests. First, I want to let you know that one fortunate attendee of the ChannelCast will win a $100 gift card from a popular online retailer. We'll inform the winner via email shortly after today's ChannelCast, but not while the event is live. Second, this is an interactive event, and all reasonable audience questions of either presenter are welcome. Simply go to the Ask a Question tab on the left side of your console. Enter your question in the box and hit Send. If for time constraints we can't get to the question during the live event, we will have a LILEE Systems expert answer it via email. Also, you in the audience do not need to touch the slides at any time during the presentation, as the speakers retain exclusive control over them. This frees you to follow along and focus on the dialogue and content. If you want a copy of the slide deck for further study, just go to the Event Resources tab on the left side of your console. Click on this tab to download the file. Finally, if you have any technical problems, please let us know immediately by describing the issue in the Ask a Question box and hitting Send. We will address it as quickly as possible to ensure your uninterrupted enjoyment of the presentation. Now on with our event. Once again, I'm Mark Sangini, and I'm today's ChannelCast editor. I also am the Content Services Director at the Channel Company, and it is a privilege to be the host today. I'm excited to be here to learn something new and interesting about the brave new world of the Internet of Things and the channel opportunities that it's creating. Now, I'm going to introduce our special guests. First, I'd like to introduce Lindsay O'Donnell. She is an editor at CRN, and her specialty is the Internet of Things. She has had a career in community journalism before becoming an IT reporter. She is also a winner of the American Society of Business Press Editors Award for investigative reporting. Also with us is Kevin Dillon, and he is Senior Director of Channels and Alliances at LILEE Systems. During his career, he has successfully managed global channel and sales teams for a gamut of companies catering to a variety of markets. He has worked for Fortune 500 companies such as Sun Microsystems and Apple Computers. He's also been involved with cutting-edge startup companies developing networking, IoT, energy, and green technologies. Currently at LILEE, Kevin focuses on new market channel strategies and channel organization development. If you want to learn more about Lindsay, Kevin, or myself, just click on the Speaker Bios tab at the top of your console. Now, I'll let you know very briefly, our speakers are here to cover the exciting opportunities in the IoT market. First, Lindsay will offer her editorial insights gained from frontline reporting on the channel, and she'll explain the overall market and the dynamics behind it. Then Kevin will discuss fog computing and the LILEE-specific opportunities. Then we will have a discussion and question and answer session where we will invite any reasonable query from the audience. And with that, I'd like to invite our first guest. Welcome to the virtual podium, Lindsay.
Thanks, Mark. I'm going to be talking today about what IoT really is and what it means to channel partners. According to market research firm Gartner, the Internet of Things is the network of physical objects that contain embedded technology to communicate and sense or interact with their internal states or the external environment. So IoT was actually a phrase coined all the way back in the 1990s by technology pioneer Kevin Ashton. But with today's technology, this market is going beyond hype, and we're actually seeing IoT implementations today. According to market research firm IDC, IoT is projected to be a $1.7 trillion market in 2020. IoT solutions are made up from a combination of technologies, including sensors, gateways, software, data analytics tools, and visualization mobile tools as well. Now, customers can benefit from IoT in a variety of different ways. IoT enables data-driven operational efficiencies, so customers can reduce inventory, downtime, and time to market. It creates new business opportunities and revenue streams for enterprises. It also allows customers to get better information so they can make faster and better decisions, and even drive automatic responses for complex systems. Where does the channel fit into all of this? Vendors are telling me that channel partners are critical for customizing IoT solutions for vertical markets. It's the channel partners that have those close relationships with customers in retail, manufacturing, or transportation markets. They know the problems that these customers face, and they are able to take vendor technologies and fit them into a viable solution that customers need. Despite that, IoT is still a fairly new term. So how is the channel feeling about the opportunities here? According to a CRN survey, they're feeling pretty good. Up to 85% of solution providers say they are making money from IoT. Up to 47% of solution providers say they see minor opportunity in IoT in the future, and 41% said they see meaningful opportunity. I also want to talk about specific opportunities for channel partners, because many partners may be scratching their heads and wondering where to begin. According to the CRN survey, many partners see hardware and software sales, installation, and maintenance as a top Internet of Things opportunity. But they also see big IoT opportunities around consulting services, data security services, application development, network infrastructure sales, and data analytics services. One other aspect of IoT to mention is fog computing. This is a situation where fog extends the cloud to be closer to the things in IoT that produce and act on IoT data. If you're a partner, fog computing would apply to a situation when data is collected at the extreme edge, or when thousands of things across a large geographic area are generating data, and it is necessary to analyze data in less than a second. Before I wrap up, I wanted to give two examples of what some channel partners are doing with the Internet of Things. One company I've talked to is New Signature. New Signature had a really interesting application where it worked with the Hershey company to use IoT to wire the company's existing production equipment. This helped Hershey save hundreds of thousands of dollars, decreased waste, and create a leaner operation through connecting its infrastructure so that popular candy, such as licorice, could be tracked digitally for weight and other factors along every stage of the production and packaging processes. From a technology perspective, the data was sent from the machines to the Azure IoT Hub into the cloud and analyzed with Microsoft Stream Analytics. Another channel company making money off the Internet of Things is Blue Metal. This company has used Microsoft's Azure IoT platform to improve vaccine management for medical manufacturer Weka Health, helping more people become protected against diseases. This partner helped its customer digitally track medicine and record other factors, such as temperature, to improve efficiency and reduce waste. Blue Metal worked with a variety of vendors to pull the whole solution together, including Weka Health to create sensor-equipped refrigerators, and with Microsoft, which provided the Azure IoT software and the Microsoft Surface devices for end users to view and analyze data. That wraps up my section. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Lindsay. That was very informative, and I didn't know that the Internet of Things was actually so old and established. And again, I get to learn many interesting things in my job. Now, I'd like to invite our next guest to come up and speak. It's my honor to introduce Kevin Dillon, who is the Senior Director of Channels and Alliances at LILEE Systems. Welcome to the virtual podium, Kevin.
Hey, thank you, Mark. So thank you again, Mark, and everyone for taking their time out of their day for attending the conference. I don't want to, Lindsay did a great job providing an overview of the Internet of Things. So Mark, we're just having a little difficulty advancing our slides. There we go. So as I mentioned, Lindsay has provided an overview of the Internet of Things, but I think what I'd like to focus on more here is this is the basic architecture of the Internet of Things. You have things that need to be connected and then information sent to the cloud. This is very rudimentary and probably the type of architecture that most people are accustomed to with IoT. But we're going to talk about fog computing, and some of the things that we want to focus on is not only the opportunities for partners, but the complexity that's becoming of this basic architecture. As things become more smart and they're doing more things, gathering more sensors, and they're attached to larger ticket priced items, the information that's being passed along becomes more mission critical, and the demands of the cloud through big data analytics and real-time processing and the information that has to securely go back to those things to communicate, the standard gateway no longer has the ability to serve this type of an architecture going forward. So we see, and this is just another example of a study from GE and World Bank that demonstrates about 46% of the world economy, the global economy, there's about a $32 trillion opportunity for IoT. And any industry that you look at or you can think of, there's probably something in that industry that can be optimized or data that can be pulled from a big data perspective to manage better. To support the growth of this industry, as recently as last year, the OpenFog Consortium was founded, and it was founded to accelerate solutions in the IoT space. What's real interesting is they identified an early use case where the necessity for fog computing was really on the rise based on all the data that's passing through now through the CCTVs. Similarly, they've defined fog computing. It really needs to rely on strong local intelligence in the gateway so that all these type of analytics, security, redundancy, and communication support can happen. And I really like the quote by Joyce Mullen, who's the SVP of Dell. You know, there are 44 zettabytes of data. We can't send that all to the cloud, right? It's just too expensive, and that model just won't scale. So the solution going forward has to be more processing locally at a fog node, which is what we're going to talk about today. I also want to point out, you can see a lot of the large logos at the bottom there that are part of the consortium. Most of those we're working with currently today at LILEE Systems. So if you look at a historical implementation of IoT, and this is just a general use case that you might run across on board a mobile vehicle, a train, a bus, something like that. Traditionally, in that original architecture slide I gave you, you have some sort of data, whether it be sensors, passenger infotainment, whether it might be CCTVs. Each of them have a box, a point gateway, that's connected to a carrier that's passing data from A to endpoint C. I kind of call this gateway sprawl because this is currently what most infrastructures look like today. What we're going to propose and what we're going to talk to you about is how we can elegantly find new solutions leveraging a fog gateway, and within developing those new solutions, there's plenty of opportunity for partners to create new practices, demonstrate leadership capabilities, and expand their reach and value to your end user customers. So if you look at just the basic, first thing, software is going to drive the business goals of your customer, correct? And in doing so, the slide that I had before, each one of those have some software component, but on a fog node, the value is really going to be you as a partner. What is the value that you're going to provide to your end user customer by aggregating all that software to run on a fog gateway that allows you the flexibility through standards-based platform to provide an architecture where you can run Linux, Android, and Windows and have all those applications coexist on a single gateway. Similarly, what's going to be very important is that all of the sensor data and information that plugs into that gateway has to be presented up into a cloud so that you can take advantage of that, and it's going to be real important that you have an open API infrastructure to do that. So the other area that's going to become increasingly important for the channel is historically gateways have been deployed and you've allowed the customer to manage the data. And as in the previous example, that can be quite cumbersome with all the different gateways deployed per mobile node. But if you look at the value that a partner can start to provide, using the right gateway and the right OS, you can start to do things for your customer and provide value by doing things like bandwidth policy management. Do you and are you providing enough bandwidth through that gateway to manage the demands of the applications, the cameras, whatever the ancillary gateway or devices that might be plugged into it would need? Are you providing a quality of service? Is there redundancy in it? For some applications, it's mission critical where you must have a failover scenario so that you always have connectivity to the backhaul. Do you have the ability to have a conversation with your end user customer around, let us help you manage your data plans? And using the correct fog node, and by aggregating all those different communication radios, you now have the ability to have that conversation and talk about who is the best carriers based on your geographical location, based on the demands of the solution, that we can optimize the solution around. Do you need 4 different carriers, or you can optimize it around 2 different carriers? And then lastly, you have to have a gateway that's going to provide the diversity of connectivity. So it's going to be important that you not only can connect to via Ethernet, how about Wi-Fi, how about LTE, and various LTE. So the value that the partner is going to play in a fog node is it's going to be very, very important that as we proceed, more and more data needs to be extracted from that device. Now, do you have the ability with the gateway to be able to aggregate all those different sensors and then plug in those sensors into the gateway so you can do real-time analytics on board the gateway? Similarly, do you have enough digital inputs so that you could connect legacy infrastructure and legacy devices into the fog node gateway so they can now be part of the overall solution? So if you look at an IoT fog node device, what becomes increasingly important is local connectivity, reliable links, and cloud-based services. So if you look at the first scenario, this is just a typical gateway passing information through. We can do that. We can take those remote assets, we can communicate via an LTE or Wi-Fi and pass that business information along. But wouldn't it be nice if you could also do things on that same gateway, like let me start gathering onboard instrumentation or onboard data, operational data. Now I can use that intelligence to start to report out asset management. Similarly, I can start aggregating more sensors into the same gateway, and I can start processing analytics. I can start connecting passenger information. Maybe it's remote ticketing or CCTV cameras. But all of these things, you can start to get an example of what we're trying to achieve here. The more that we have the ability to process locally at the FOG, the more different types of business solutions a partner can start to provide and elevate your conversations with the end user customer. Now, what becomes real interesting in this market as we continue to evolve, as we now have a single platform, the importance of a FOG gateway, that spans across all different types of verticals. So this is important for a partner because now you can have a single platform, you can have a single technical understanding, your training becomes condensed, you have a single solution that you can create multiple use cases around, and you can start to see threads that are common along all these different verticals, so you can start to expand your outreach into maybe a vertical that you aren't currently calling on. For instance, transportation, it's very important that you have Wi-Fi connectivity, operational sensors are becoming important, as well as other passenger services. In freight and supply chain, it's becoming very important where safety is very critical, and maybe you have sensor data that becomes very critical. In industrial, you have security cameras, you have remote locations where you need to use 3G to provide Wi-Fi, and then maintain local applications where you can process security alerts and only alert and send critical data that's necessary. First responder, similar, retail, store-in-store, CCTV cameras, education, and of course smart city. We play in several of these verticals. So I think, Mark, you might have an opportunity for a quick survey. And if everyone will take a look real quickly at the poll, it'd be very interesting to get an understanding of where you see the most growth for your business in the next 12 months is going to come from. Let's go to the next slide. And we'll just give that a moment longer. And I want to thank everyone for participating in that. So it looks like we see about good majority of the people on the call, looks like retail and education represent about 25 to 28% of where you see the growth market, about 12% in smart cities and freight. So let's focus on a couple use cases for a FOG computing. And keep in mind, again, the traditional model is based on single gateway, single solution. The concept that we want to explore and present to you is the opportunity, again, for the channel partner to have a different type of conversation with your end user customer. In the case of retail applications, with a FOG node gateway, you can now do things like provide pop-up store-in-store type of deployments where you don't have physical Ethernet. You can use 3G, provide Wi-Fi hotspot. If you're connected to the store infrastructure, you can do things like feed real-time data to the store kiosks to provide specific messaging. You can look at passenger or customer counting. You can track where your customers are within a store and drive behavior in different parts of the store through either monitor or kiosk displays, advertising, sales in a different department. You can run different type flash sales because you can do this all real time based on the data you're gathering through the TV or the applications. You can also track cell phone usage and local advertising. But I think it's really interesting, you can start to do some things about redundant communication for point of sale or you can do some interesting things where you're providing local applications specific to individual retailers or brands within your store, so they have the ability to do a little bit more local marketing within a larger structure of a store. When we look at next generation transit, we've been in this market for a while and we actually see a tremendous opportunity. I will tell you, a year or two ago, the only conversation was about Wi-Fi. Consumers were pushing transit operators to deploy Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is now the ticket to have the conversation. It's expected that you can deploy some high-quality Wi-Fi. But more importantly, what we're having conversations with our end users are about, let's talk about Wi-Fi. Once we have that enabled with this gateway, we have the infrastructure in place. Now let's talk about security. Let's talk about passenger applications, infotainment, and then let's talk about operations. So by deploying a fog node gateway, you're deploying a roadmap for future discussions with your customer and an opportunity for you to come back and add infrastructure around a gateway rather than the traditional rip and replace infrastructure which most of the customers have been used to. I think the other thing that's becoming really important in the transportation space is the aggregation of the carriers. It's critical that in vehicles in motion, you're using the right operations system where you have the ability to provide a highly scalable link aggregation technology that'll do load balancing. Imagine going down a freeway at high speed with a busload of people or employees, and you have 4 different carriers within that gateway. You have to manage the ability to move from an AT&T to a Verizon to a T-Mobile back to an AT&T seamlessly without dropping those connections on board a vehicle. So that's very important. Similarly, as you look at the different infrastructure components based on the business case, the value of having a high bandwidth and the ability to service that bandwidth in a secure tunnel to the data center is going to become increasingly important. And then the last example I wanted to discuss was this idea of first responder and the mission critical nature of the connectivity in that market. We're actually doing some business right now with a partner we'll discuss later on, but it's very critical that there's a secure connection that's established that's always on. You have to have the ability that a patrol caller can have a hotspot, they can have a failover node, and they have the ability to offload all that high quality dashboard, body worn, camera data that now they're collecting more and more frequently, storing in vehicle, and at the end of the day requiring that to be offloaded securely. Similarly, if you look at ambulance and other first responders that might need access to medical data, you have to have the ability to pull that medical data through a secure channel and then have that data available, run on local applications, and presented it up real time so the first responders can make intelligent decisions. So if you're looking at what we believe is a required checklist, this is an example for a fog node gateway that you should be looking at when you go to deploy this type of an infrastructure. Does it have the compute power necessary to perform the application engine requirements in the gateway? Do you have the ability to have cellular radios that not only support the most advanced LTE-A, but are also backward compatible? Do you have Wi-Fi available within the gateway? Do you have all the necessary ports available to do the integration to provide a complete business solution? Is it an open standards-based platform? And then will you run Linux, Windows, Android, and again, will there always be high reliability links for redundancy and diversity? So don't take this lightly. This is extremely important. So I want to tell you a little bit about LILEE Systems. Some of you might have heard of us, some of you might not have. So we've been in business since 2009. We came out with our first product closely following that. We've recently received a lot of accolades in the industry from the work that we've been doing in a particular segment of the transportation market. But we're privately funded, headquartered here in Silicon Valley, and we have offices globally, Taipei and Amsterdam. But most recently, last month, we were awarded the Inc. 500 designation. We were number 179, and the number 2 networking company as the fastest growing private company. We were also awarded number 13 in Silicon Valley's fastest growing private company. And just last month at the Smart Rail Show in New Jersey, or North Carolina, I believe it was, we were awarded the Innovation Award for Projects of the Year for projects that we've been doing in the transportation market around this employee shuttle, which is a very interesting use case. A little bit about the partnership. The purpose of this call is not only to expose you to fog computing and educate you about the opportunity, but we're also looking for best-of-breed partners that want to become leaders in their industry, like some of these marquees that we have up on the board here. For those of you that are familiar with Amtrak, in the Northeast Corridor, Amtrak runs on our solution from LILEE Systems. Alstom also goes to market with LILEE Systems. They're one of our system integrators. Presidio, which has been the public sector gold partner for Cisco for the last 4 years, has recently created a go-to-market solution around the first responder market. They're migrating off of a Cisco partner, or a Cisco platform rather, and they're fully embracing the feature set that we've come to market with in our fog node computing, and we'll talk a little bit about that more. We're also part of Cisco's Solutions Plus infrastructure. We have a partner agreement with Cisco. It's real important because Cisco did a lot of validation and testing with LILEE. We are actually part of their validated design in the transportation market. Intel, we're also part of the Cisco Intel Alliance, and we have several opportunities that we're working with them on. They see tremendous value in our fog node gateway that we're bringing to market, primarily because they haven't seen this type of innovation yet in this marketplace. And then lastly, we've secured partnership with the largest shuttle agency. Those of you in Silicon Valley, when you see the buses going up and down from San Jose to San Francisco, this is the agency that provides all the employee shuttles, both on the East Coast, now expanding to the West Coast. It's real important. They've been around for several years. They've tried several solutions, and none of them have been able to provide the output, the throughput for the employees. We've been able to demonstrate to them that we can do that, no problem. So very quickly, a little bit about the company. This is a very important slide for several reasons. LILEE Systems provides a complete package for you to help to support your fog node solution. What's extremely important is LILEE Systems, unlike other companies, we don't rely on innovation coming from OEMs. We actually design our own hardware and we develop our own operating system. Again, this is extremely important. We're going to design hardware where we can take advantage of all those communication protocols and make sure that everything interoperates with our OS so we can provide the best link aggregation technology, the best load balancing, and the best user experience possible because we're so tightly integrated. Similarly, what's most important is our cloud strategy, our T-Cloud. We can aggregate any sensor, any data from anything plugged into our gateways, and we can present that up through a secure tunnel to our cloud. But what's real important here is this is an open cloud based on open APIs. We do not own the data. Your customer and you own the data. We don't get involved in that. But I say that's extremely important because there are companies that are coming to market with a closed proprietary cloud strategy. So these are our gateways. The two on the right have been on the market. I will tell you the largest one on the right is only about 9 inches tall, but we were the first company to come to market with this modularity design. It's a hardened product. All 3 gateways are hardened, but you have the ability with the gateway on the right to put in multiple different LTEs, power over Ethernet switch, application engine. Similarly, the middle one, we can scale with ever interchangeable application engines your business case would require. But what I really want to focus on is the ST1020, which is our fog node gateway that we just announced a couple weeks ago. And I want to dive a little bit more into that. We developed that gateway as a result of conversations with our customers and our partners. And what we saw was the current environment didn't allow for a gateway which would elegantly allow you to create the business solutions that you were looking for. Traditionally, you had to hobble together a couple boxes, a couple different interfaces, which became cumbersome and costly. And what we've done and what we're presenting to you here today is a very elegant solution, a fog gateway all in one form factor. So we provide you cloud management, application deployment, services management, as you would expect. We bundle that with communications. We have the best-in-class LTE cellular. We have dual Wi-Fi 802.11ac. This is 3x3 MIMO, so it is the most advanced communication. We are the only hardened gateway that provides the LTE with the link aggregation technology. We've also bundled with this a quad-core Intel processor. We have upgradable hard drive slots, so you can upgrade to multiple terabytes of SSD drive. And we have an application engine that will run Linux, Windows, and Android. We've also put in best-of-breed application interfaces. So we not only provide an HDMI port, but USB ports, serial ports, 4 PoE gigabit Ethernet plus ports, plus 2 additional Ethernet ports. And on top of that, we've bundled in several sensors, including onboard OBD, advanced GPS, gyroscope and accelerometer, and digital I/O. So if you think about this, what we're providing now to the industry is the first true fog node gateway, and we're reaching out to the partner community saying, here's the toolkit for you to start providing integrated value, application deployment, carrier aggregation, so you can change the conversation you're having with your customers, and you can advance your discussion with them about how you're going to solve their business problems. So real quickly, if you compare the STS just to a standard gateway that's on the market, you can very quickly see on the right under the results, the gateway that we have is 10 times faster, the memory is 8 times larger, the storage is at least 32 times faster, and applications is brand new. There is not a box on the market that has an application engine on board, integrated, and again, we engineered this box so everything seamlessly works together. And last couple slides, we've recently, along with great accolades we've received in awards, we've also had some great press through the announcement of this product. This is just some couple of them, but I think they're all alluding to the fact that there needs to be a fog platform going forward. LILEE Systems seems to be onto something here. Our gateways are strong, highly reliable, and we've just received a preview of a report that's going to come out in Q1, and I like the last 2 sentences. Clients operating transportation fleets should engage with LILEE as we can provide a holistic solution. And then lastly, if you're developing software solutions outside of other industries, you consider partnering with us for hardware enablement. Those are strong analyst reports, and we couldn't be prouder of those. So those on the call, we'd like to offer you an opportunity to participate with us. As with any new technology, it's always about rolling our sleeves up and demonstrating the value to you. the call to action is we're looking for partners who have customers where you think we can move the needle and help you advance your business with those customers by deploying a fog gateway. So send me an email, call me directly, but I'd like to offer to those on the call, identify a proof of concept. Let's have that discussion. We will help you with full management and engineering support. We'll take the opportunity to train you on the product and how to sell this. We'll offer you a 50% discount on the first proof of concepts that we proceed with. We'll help you with the installation and configuring. And then once we're successful, we'll help you with joint marketing to promote you as an early adopter in the fog gateway, but also advance you in the solution that you've deployed with your customer. And that was really it for myself. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to discuss our company, our platform, and educate you on the emerging market for fog computing. And Mark, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you, Kevin, for a very, very illuminating section about the opportunities with LILEE and with fog. I'm learning new things left and right today. And as the slide indicates, we've come to the discussion section of our ChannelCast, and that includes open Q&A from the audience. And again, we do welcome any and all reasonable questions of either of our presenters. All that you have to do is go to the Ask a Question tab on the left side of your console, enter your question in the box, and hit Send. And if we can't get to your question because of time constraints, we will have an expert from LILEE Systems answer it via email. And to you in the virtual audience who may be listening to this on demand, I want you to know that you also are welcome to pose questions to LILEE Systems. We will forward the question to the appropriate LILEE expert, and they will respond to it via email. So, I'm looking over our question deck. And, okay, first of all, as new cellular technologies emerge, such as 5G, LTE, etc., how does the LILEE solution become future-proofed?
Yeah, this is a great question, David. So there's two ways. One is if you notice the solution that I had, the larger of our solutions was the modular. One approach we use with a lot of customers that have that concern and they have the bandwidth where they need a larger gateway, we like to tell them that we have an investment protection strategy for them. And that is, at any time if a new LTE comes out and they decide that I want to be on 5G or LTE, you don't have to rip and replace the technology. It's just a matter of sliding in a new LTE card for whatever that new technology might be. But that's all that they would pay for, and that's all that they would need to do to bring them up to the most current standards. With the newest box that we just talked about, the STS, that comes with the most advanced LTE currently, and it's backward compatible. So that should serve your clients for quite some time.
Excellent, excellent. And also, what support will LILEE offer to us, the partners, to do the proof of concept, and how does that apply in pre, post-sales, and during installation? Yeah.
So we look at this as an opportunity. For the proof of concept, we're going to be very involved. What we find the best way to partner is that we provide you with as much education and as much knowledge as we can. That includes both the salespeople interacting with your customer on how you want to present this type of a concept to them, because it is a different business model, and also with your engineering team so that they can take advantage of all the different opportunities to integrate and provide new solutions for the partner. So we will be very close with you on the proof of concept, both pre and then post-sales, because we find that the best way to create a partnership is that you find that we're easy to work with, and we have the ability to work with you to demonstrate success, repeated success over and over.
Excellent. And along those same lines, how does a company apply to partner with LILEE on a proof of concept?
Yeah, so I would recommend reaching out to me either via our partners at LILEE Systems, email. My phone number is in the presentation. Reach out to me, give me a call, or just let's have that discussion. We're looking for partners that have opportunity, that have specific markets that they want to target, and then let's discuss those type of customers that you're currently talking with, and let's talk about the opportunities that we can help you with. But let's have that conversation.
Outstanding. Next question. Why did we drive you select LILEE over other companies that also offer passenger Wi-Fi?
Yeah. So I kind of like this story, and this is a good example of the evolution of the technology. If you think about passenger Wi-Fi a couple years ago, it was really just about getting a MiFi. That was the first deployment. Then you have more consumer-type gateways that started to enter the market where they would give you carrier A or carrier B, and you really didn't have a choice. And the gateway was good for maybe the first 10 passengers that were on board a vehicle. And that was good at the time. But back then, if you think 3 years ago, most people were only doing email, texting, and maybe some internet search. But the reality now is that the demand is based more on streaming. It's based more on security, video, and the demands from the gateway become much more. The demands are much more. So WeDriveU chose us because we had a gateway which allowed us to scale the throughput and provide the connectivity for those customers that had to do VPN. They had to do, they're doing more streaming, they're doing more Netflix type entertainment. So when it came down to a head-to-head bake-out between us and the competitors, we very easily distinguished ourselves from them. We also want to highlight that we do a lot of first call customer support. So we're not afraid to take those calls from the customer, from the ridership, and help them to become connected riders. So it was a combination of those type of things, and the fact that LILEE's an innovative company, and we're looking to work with them on how we can help to increase their business by deploying these, a roadmap to further gain commitment from their customers to use WeDriveU.
Now I have a technical question which I'll pose to you. How does the gateway receive cellular signals in a server room or in some other hard-to-reach installation area?
How does it receive a cellular signal? So our gateway has LTE, so cellular antenna. We also have Wi-Fi. So if you're sending a signal from a data center per se, that's going to communicate via the backhaul out to a cellular network, a tower somewhere, and then from that tower that would communicate to our gateway on board the vehicle or in a retail outlet, wherever that might be.
Excellent. Now I have a sort of a market-related question, and also this may also be something that our CRN expert may want to weigh in. It's a twofold question. So let me ask the first part of it, and I'll rephrase it just a little bit for clarity. Despite IoT being a long-standing solution with tangible benefits and impact, do you think the reason why businesses are still reluctant to consider it as a viable opportunity is because of a confused or uneducated perspective?
Mark,
I certainly. Go ahead, Lindsay.
I'd love for both responses here. This is a good question.
Okay, great. I'll take the lead if you don't mind. So what I'm seeing based on what channel partners are telling me is this is true. There's the IoT market is still fairly new. A lot of people don't even know what IoT means. So from a channel perspective, the biggest thing you can do there that channel partners are telling me that they're trying to do is really reach out to customers and just educate them, take those first steps, and on the flip side, talk to vendors about what initiatives and what technologies they have, because it seems as though the real reluctance behind a lot of enterprises is that this is such a new concept. They view it kind of as a risk. So definitely in the education process for a lot of solution providers.
And Kevin,
yeah, and I agree with that also. I think to add to that, even if you think of where cloud was several years ago, right? It was a new concept. It took a while for people to warm up to it. Now it's in everyone's vernacular. This is similar. IoT's been around for a while, but when people traditionally think about IoT, they think about these very small gateway devices spread out throughout a geography, reporting kilobits of data that might just be one metric, on, off, or a temperature, something like that, or a meter reading, and that's been considered IoT. The real opportunity for the channel is it's a business discussion, and I think big data is driving this. I think the channel is going to start to drive this, and I think the devices that are becoming more intelligent are going to start to drive this aggregation of this IoT cloud or infrastructure or business. But where we see the discussion going is the partners really haven't had the right tools to really just deploy a IoT solution. A lot of what's come to market, for the most part, has been vaporware, quite honestly, but there have been very few true IoT-type devices that can take advantage of the data that's being presented to them. I think what we're presenting here and what the analysts are catching on to is now that you have the tool, now let's get the channel to embrace the tool, and let's start having those discussions with the businesses on, yes, I can report you that data, but now with this tool, I can start reporting you more data, and do you need to have all the data reported to you any longer, or do you only need the data reported to you that's out of range? So I just see it as a huge market opportunity for everyone to start exploring.
Excellent. Now, this has been wonderful. We have time for one more question, and I'm going to pose that. Can we truly ensure that passengers in transit won't be hacked? Is the transportation segment of a system a hole for hackers, or can we, in fact, make sure that we can keep our transit customers safe in the IoT world?
Yeah, that's a good question, and security is always going to be an issue. They're running quicker than a lot can keep up, but I will say this. One of the foundations of our technology, and this is extremely important when you talk about the value of a company engineering their own product and developing their own OS, is we have security compliance in place. For instance, where we communicate from our device to the data center is a secure tunnel. It's encrypted. All that data is passed back and forth through encryption. So we have a level of security that we have built into our solution. I can't say that for all solutions, but it's very important to this company. Our legacy and our heritage was built in passenger rail in a federally mandated requirement that required us to have security and compliance in place. So that's in our DNA and core to the company. I would like to have follow up on that question, and we can have further discussions because it'll go a lot further with our engineering team if someone really wants to delve into the intricacies of the security and compliance that we have in place. But we agree, it is something that's important, and all partners should be concerned with that and the solutions that you deploy.
Great. And I want to thank both Lindsay and Kevin for being so gracious, both with their presentations and for asking some questions, which I found some of them rather challenging. Now, I want everyone to know also that any question we weren't able to get to will be forwarded to the appropriate expert for email response. And again, on-demand viewers, you are quite welcome to submit your questions, and they will be forwarded to the appropriate expert for response. So, thanks everyone for having joined us today. And in a moment, we're going to take you to the LILEE website where you'll be able to review more tools and access more information. I just have to quickly note that this ChannelCast and its content are copyrighted 2016 by the Channel Company, LLC, or its affiliates. All rights reserved. All trademarks are the property of their respective owners. Any rebroadcast or redistribution of this ChannelCast or any portion thereof without the prior written consent of the Channel Company, LLC, is prohibited. And I want you in the audience to know that is a mouthful, and I try very hard not to breathe in hard when I do it. Now, I also want to personally thank everyone for taking the time out of your busy days to be with us on this ChannelCast, brought to you by the Channel Company and LILEE Systems. And especially on behalf of our guests, Lindsay and Kevin, and our virtual production team and our project managers, thank you all for your time, and have a useful, great day in the channel.